Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and having a beautiful day, doing whatever makes you happy in your happy space. In today's tutorial, we'll be talking about quilt backing. So I have all my bits and bobs ready, so I'm just going to go straight into the video. So let's get started. Alright, so in today's tutorial I have two quilts tops that I need to complete. In fact, I've got three in total, but I'll be doing two today. And these are the final three in all of my quilt tops that needs to be done. So today we are going to do this. However, I thought a different spin on one of them. So I have two of the same quilt top in different colors. So for example, one is on a blue and one is a red, but they're both the same quilt pattern. So they are both on point, so they're 5 inches squares on point, or charms on point. So today we're going to do a pieced backing. So what I have done in preparation to get that sorted, I have already started here to lay out my my batting here, and the batting represents the size of the quilt. So it's a hangover, in case you're wondering, so it is slightly bigger than the quilt as you would do normally. What I'm going to do here is do a piece backing, so a scrappy backing, but I'm going to be using sort of the same tones of colors that is represented in the front of the quilt. Now I have already placed the quilt here already on my wall. As you can see, the quilt is there, all right. However, and there is a mixture of colors within it. As I said, it is very much the same. The two are the same. So one is of a blue concept and the one is of a red concept. And what really kind of makes it blue is really the borders, whereas the other ones is finished with a red border. All right. But all of the charm squares are the same. So I have placed the quilt top front sides down on the wall and the back of the quilt is there already. As I said, it measures larger than the actual quilt top, and that's because this is what you would do normally, and I've said that already. Now the concept here is to use pieces of fabric. Now when I lay my fabric down, I am going to extend it over, or right to the edge, I should say, of my batting here, because my batting is already bigger. Now if you were to do this on a smaller scale or on a larger scale, you could draw it out on the wall. You could, for example, put a frame on the floor on your table and work from that manner. But I felt it was a lot more easier to already cut the size of the batting and just place the batting over the quilt top. You don't necessarily need to add the quilt top to the wall. Okay, I'm not just pinned it to the wall there. All right, you don't necessarily need to do that as long as your batting is bigger than your quilt top, because at the end of the day we need to trim. So the same concept applies if we're using a whole fabric. So I'm going to take pieces of my and just simply place it on top there, and because it's batting, it should literally stay. Now you can use any sizes that you want. The objective here is to cover as much as possible. So so as you can see, I have it edge to edge there, which is exactly what I want. I have a space there to fill in gaps. You could simply just add it straight together, meaning you can put it like so. Yeah, you could just simply put it over. Now notice I have actually overlaid it, and you're wondering why. Why don't I just put it edge to edge? Well, then the concept is that I will need seam allowances, isn't it? So I will do that. So I will overlap it just to make sure I've included a seam allowance when I'm using up all the space here. All right. So again, you can make this as big or as small as you want. I have my little mat on the table here with my scissors so that I can trim down the sizes that I want. Now, when I say big and small, you can do big and small, long and short. So for example, I will build it in the sense that I am piecing it at the same time. What I would not do, because I think I'll give myself a double job, I would not just add bits everywhere. So for example, I would not just add a random piece there. Okay, and notice it is at an angle. So if you want to get, you know, different slant shapes, you can do that also. Or you can keep it symmetrical and just keep straight lines, whatever makes you happy. All right, so in that concept there, where I've added a slant, so then obviously my next piece I can probably trim and add it somewhere there. Okay. So I will add, as I was about to say, and I can just simply cut that there. So which is what I'm going to do actually. So I'm going to take it off and I'm going to add it there as a cut. So what I was about to say is that as I am building the backing, I am going to lay it out exactly the way I want to stitch it, as well as lay it out a way in which I can just take it off, sew it and put it back. I don't really want to add too many small pieces in there, but if it requires it, then that's not a big deal. So I would say definitely get all of your bits of scraps. In this case, I'm not really using much scraps, to be honest. I'm using pieces like, say for example, an end cut from a fat quarter is what I'm going to be using. So pieces such as this, or even such as this. This is quite big, so I will cut that down like this as well. So I will trim it down. All right, so I'm going back to this particular one here. I'm going to add it like so, and again I'm going to overlap. And again, it's at the edge of my batting because I know that's where it stops. All right. So again, moving on, I could fill in this area here. Now, I don't have to work going all the way down. I could work in any spot. All right, so don't limit yourself. I would definitely say the most important thing is to overlap. So for example, I can go in here. Now, I can keep it big, as I said, or I can keep it small. It really is down to you and how fast you want to speed this up. I don't mind keeping it big, yeah? It just means less cutting. All right, and I'm going to add this one there. Again, overlapping. So basically, all I've got to fill now is this area here. And I can cut any small piece and fit it in there again. What I will try to do, however, is to just keep the color concept similar, in reference to the front of the quilt is what I'm referring to. So this one fits in nicely there and it overlaps. So I'm going to cut it in half and fit it in right there. Of course, with the batting, it may shift a little bit. So I'm going to just have some pins on hand. And I'm just using these straight little pins here. These sort of type is what I'm actually using. So I'm just going to put that there just to make sure it doesn't move. So I'm thinking you're getting the concept, okay? So I do have a bit of green here, which I want to add because I think there is some of this at the front. If not, it's not a huge deal. I just want to emulate the colors. And this is literally a piece of fat quarter here. So this is ideal to actually cut. And again, I could just simply add more underneath here like so. Okay, but to be honest, I don't want to do that. What I would like to do, and sorry I'm bending down and talking to you, what I would like to do is to add in some strips in there. So I've got, obviously if you got your scraps, you can add in a strip of colour in there just to mix it up a bit. Let's grab some more. I mean, any colour that you think is going to work. As I said, I'm trying to work with the colours that's already at the back. Now, if you so need, you can get your iron out and add some to it. So I'm literally going to put that there. I mean, that's looking good so far. Okay, I do feel, however, that this bit here is a bit too big, so I'm going to cut some away. Now I really want to give it a scrappy sense, yeah? So I want to play around and move as much as I possibly can. So I think I am happy with that. I think that looks good. So I'm going to continue to build it, add strips, pieces, and see what it looks like. Let's give it a little bit of an interest. It looks very scrappy. I'm not sure about leaving it that big there, even though I really don't mind, to be honest. I could then bring in another piece of this particular fabric and add it here in the corner there. But I do feel that it gives the same sort of concept with the checkered, so I may add something else. But I'm going to finish this. I'm going to fill the whole area and then I'm going to start sewing it together. Now, how I would sew this together is to simply start exactly where I started before. So I will join these two together, put it back, then join this one to there, put it back, straighten the edges, and then continue. So as if we're doing piecing anyway. All right, so once this is sewn together, then I'll add this, so I can work across or I can work down. Basically, I'm thinking I'm going to work my way down and do it in panels, from how I have sort of given myself an imaginary seam line going all the way down here. Okay, so but that's what I said. So however you build it on here is how you're going to sew it. All right, so give yourself, so overlap, exactly where you overlap is where you're literally going to form your seam line. So I'm going to continue, and then I'll show you how it looks once I've stitched it together. Okay, so all the panels are now sewn together right down to the bottom. Remember, the backing is bigger than the quilt, all right? So the quilt is in front of it as we're currently looking at it. All right, so they're not, the whole thing is not sewn together. It's just the pieces as you're seeing it there. So for example, in the middle here, oops, sorry, I just shook the camera. In the middle here, it's separated. So what I have done is created two halves, basically. So all I'm going to do now is to sort of trim these at the end so that it's nice and level, both sides. And then I'm going to sew it together. But for now, all these panels here are separated. So this is a panel, 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 panel. Again, panel, 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 panel. I'm calling them panel because I think that's the easiest way to refer to it, okay? So I'm going to sew it together, this whole side, and then I'm going to come over to this side and sew it together, and then join the whole two things together. But I think right now it looks really good. I am happy with it, but I can't wait to see what it looks like once it's quilted. So this Scrappy quilt backing, I think for now I'll give it a thumbs up. Definitely. All right, so let me continue now. Okay, so I have placed the front on, the quilt front, I should say. And so now I'm going to add the pieced backing. And so the whole thing has been made already. So I'm just going to put it on right now. Now just make sure, as I said in the beginning of the tutorial, make sure that the quilt backing is as big as the batting. Okay, that's really important. All right, remember we need to have so many inches around the perimeter of the quilt, hence the reason why it's so big, because when you are quilting, especially on a domestic, it does tend to shift. All right, so it's important that you have enough movement on each side. So I have an average approximately 2.5 to 3 inches, okay, for my batting, and I always do the batting and the quilt back the same. So all I'm doing right now is just flopping it on so that it stays nice and smooth. I've got a little bit of a pucker here, so I'm aiming to get that nice and smooth, and I'm making sure that there's enough measurement all the way around the quilt, just to ensure there is no side that is uneven. I like to get it nice and straight so that it lays lovely and flat. I've already pressed the quilt backing, and so it's on there nicely. Now when I use batting, I use a cotton blend, so a cotton and a polyester blend, which is what I like. And I use I think it's about 90% cotton and the next 10% polyester. All right, it just means that I get a nicer loft in the quilting pattern throughout. That's all it means, so the quilting shows up. I can see here that the quilt is on the wrong way around, so I'm gonna have to change it around because it is literally on the end where the quilt front is. So I'm gonna turn it around and put it the other way so that it's on there correctly. And that's another thing to check for. As much as it is wider, you just need to check that it is on there properly. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so I'm happy with the way it is now. Now what I'm going to do is add my quilting spray just to ensure that it's on there safely. So I use Birch quilting spray, and for those of you who've never used it before, it is quite convenient. I don't usually pin base, I will glue spray base, and that ensures it adheres to it a lot more easily. I will also add an iron and press it down just to ensure that it adheres to it further and it's lovely and smooth. So again, all I'm doing really is just passing my hands over it to ensure it's smooth. And I'm going to lift it now. So what I'm going to do is fold the quilt top to the middle, spray this side, and then do the same thing on the other side. Oh. Give it a good shake. Now if you're going to use this quilting spray, I get it in my local quilt store. There's any other brand you can use. There is a spray base glue for crafting, but I wouldn't advise to use that. It comes out a bit very sort of squirty and sort of white when it's aerated, and I do feel it acts more as a glue rather than a quilting basting spray. So make sure whatever one you use is quilt basting spray, not fabric or spray craft glue, okay? Alright, so here are the finished products. So obviously this one is quilted. Now I didn't show you this because I'll just add in a plain, when I say a plain, a normal backing, so a whole piece backing to this particular one. Alright, however, this is what the front of both of the quilts look like. So as you can see, this one is beautifully vibrant and red, and I'll come in closer and show you the actual quilting for this one, but I just did loop-to-loops, but it's absolutely gorgeous, really beautiful. Okay, on the back I just did the whole piece, so I just used a similar color, very tiny floral print on the back for this one, and again I will zoom in so you can see the actual quilting on this one. I did a Christmas binding as well for this one. All right, so I'll put this one aside. As you can see, it's very much the same quilt, isn't it? I used the same 5" squares, and I've added a cornerstone, a blue cornerstone, to kind of represent the blue one here, so sort of tie them together, but it is relatively the same quilt. One's blue, one's red. The red one is larger than the blue. Okay, so I'll put that one aside. I think this one is 53" square, the blue. So this is the blue one now. Let me measure this one because I don't recall the size for it. As you can see, it's the same blue borders, however it's slightly smaller. So the other one, the red, is 53 inches. Let's check this one out. This is 49.5, so I reckon it's 49.5 squared. This one, yes, the same thing. And I use swirls on the pattern for this one, but I know you're interested in seeing what the back looks like. For the binding, I just did an ordinary sort of white floral, but this is the back, and I think it looks beautiful as a piece backing, giving you basically two quilts in one. And again, I'll do a whole look around for the whole thing so you can see the overall look of it. But on the table it looks really beautiful. Love the colors, just really nice. And I do feel that it complements the back as well. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So rather than using a whole backing for the back of the quilt, you can do something like this, which I think again gives you a scrappy quilt, a sort of traditional scrappy quilt at the front, at the back, sorry, and sort of a planned scrappy at the front. Now these quilt tops are 2 years old, I think, because since we moved to Australia when we were traveling, I did this. Oh, at least 18 months or something like that is actually this, but gorgeous. So I'm going to zoom in again, have a look. So it's really lovely. All right, guys, so do let me know down below which one you prefer. Do you prefer the pieced back, or you prefer the whole piece, the whole backing? Which is your favorite? I mean, I know what my favorite is, but you tell me which is yours. I mean, what would you like to see when you lay your quilts out? And again, using a pieced backing, making it more creative in the sense you get two quilts, isn't it? So you can have this at the front, so fancy and organized, and this sort of a crazy put together, but yet still so fantastic. And I know most probably will like this. And to be honest, if I had to choose, I would choose the piece backing rather than the whole backing. Don't get me wrong, whole backings are really beautiful, and they show off the fabric, but here it still shows off your creativity when you do a piece backing. And you know, it shows how you use your fabric. You still bring the fabrics as scraps into your work. Beautiful. All right, guys. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, do let me know down below. If there's something you think you can actually do, would you consider making a creative piece backing whereby you put so much more into it? Yes, it does make the whole process of making the quilt a little bit longer, but look at the creativity you end up with, and look at how much scraps you really get to use as well. Another thing is that once I trimmed off all the excess, now I have all of this scrappy piece left here, and what I can do now is just simply put it together and put it in the quilt. So you sort of done the job. You kind of pieced scraps together. Why am I coughing so much? I was fine. You know, so yeah, you can do that, and in a sense, really, you have, you know, scrappy bits. All you need to do is just add to more, and you're literally done. Look how much scrap left over there is that I can just use in another quilt. Brilliant, isn't it? So let me know which is your favorite. Let me drink some coffee because my throat needs something. Why do people call me when I'm on the camera with you guys? Why? It's my son calling. It's his birthday today. He's 26, so let me go wish him happy birthday yet again, because when I called he was sleeping. Love you lots. Let me know down below what is your favorite. Bye for now and happy quilting.